So, what is going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at the Transformers Thrilling 30 Generations Voyager class Rhinox. And I thought I'd take a look at this Rhinox, and he's a pretty alright figure, other than his issues. Yeah, so this figure came out in 2014. He's one of what I deem part of the 5 that's like the beginning of it, of me collecting. And I deem that to Soundwave from Fall of Cybertron, the Voyager one, because I got that on a trip, and I bought it, and I was like, hey, I like this. And then around my birthday, it went crazy. I got Hoist, who you've seen in the last review, as a comparison dummy, because he's there. Thundercracker, who I've not reviewed, the Fall of Cybertron one. Sandstorm, who I have reviewed, and then Rhinox, here was the final one. And the thing to note about Rhinox, he's always had loose hips. He's always had it, but with age, they got terrible. He cannot stand. Like, I kid you not. He can, like, he just can't. He cannot stand. Like, on my shelf, he's propped against Prime's trailer because he cannot stand on his own. It is feasibly impossible for him to stand. Like, it's to the point where I'm actually considering getting something in there behind him to hold him, because getting him to stand is impossible at this moment in time. And like I said, his hips were always loose. It's kind of a shame. He also has 2 guns, which he's not holding because he can barely hold them. Here's someone says, what do you mean? So you put them in his hand, and as you can see, there's a lot of room left. He doesn't hold it. It's not like it slots in, like you feel like a friction. He's going to put it there. If you put it off to the side even, it doesn't work. It just unpegs the handle. So yeah, he can't even really hold his guns that well, unless you put them inward over the thumb. Other than that, he's not holding them that well, which is a shame. If you press on the little scope, which I like how it is just high enough to see over. I like that that is the thing. It spins them. They both do it. Pretty nice. Better than the new one, which has these, but they don't spin, and they're a lot smaller. As you can see, the back is just the green piece handle. It actually does look like it could be some kind of Gatling pistol, but, you know, they combine for storage in the alt form. But this figure's pretty good looking, other than his major flaws that I got out of the way pretty much right away. I love the look of this figure. I think this one is better looking than the new one. I did not like the look of the new one. I really do not like the look of that thing. I don't think it looks as good as this one. I don't think it is. I also don't like the transformation on that one. I don't own it, but based on what I've seen, I immediately was like, I think this one's better. I do think this one's better. I don't think I'm the only one with that. I also never bought Rat Trap, which Rhinox and Rat Trap are 2 of my favorite from Beast Wars, and I never bought the new ones because I didn't want the core Rat Trap. I like the Deluxe more, so I kept the Deluxe around. And as far as Rhinox goes, he just does look phenomenal. Like, he just does the nice little bits of gold here and there, especially on the chest here. It does look nice. I like how the rhino is pretty much everywhere on him. And it's this nice textured feeling. Like, it got the nice kind of armored texture. It's really nice. It does have a bit of a backpack. It's the rhino head, but that's actually accurate. So I can't say it's the backpack when it's... Well, it is a backpack, but it's accurate backpack. He doesn't really have much of kibble other than, I guess, these panels, because it's only really supposed to be the head. So I guess you can say the butt flap and this flap. And, I mean, he does look really good. His head sculpt, also really good. I always like the look with the big beard that he has and the big eyebrows. And he kind of has like a mohawk. Did not continue the paint, though, towards the back. I don't know why they just stopped. It's really weird. It's really weird that they just stopped like that. But, yeah. Like, I have to hold him. So he just doesn't want to do it. He can't stand. I mean, this guy looks great. He looks phenomenal. He looks awesome. But his articulation, is it any good? Well, it does have a ball joint in the head, which allows him to look up and down. So it's a pretty good ball joint. Forward and back, outward, an elbow, a swivel. No hand articulation. He does have a waist if you move the little loincloth out of the way. Forward and back, obviously. Outward, swivel, knee. And he actually has an ankle tilt, believe it or not. It's very minor, but it is there. So that's nice. A figure from 2014 with an ankle tilt. Too bad he can't really utilize it. As far as the robot mode goes, it's good. I like the look of it, but the only issue is loose legs. The loose hips really kill this. And someone's like, I'll fix it. I could, possibly, because as you can see, it's mushroom joints. So they're right there. I can genuinely look right into it. You can't really see it, but there's mushroom joints. So it is fixable. But I don't want to risk it. I don't want to ruin his legs. I've done it so many times, or I've had a figure and ruined it. I don't want to do it. But let's get into the transformation for Rhinox, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good one. So come to the forearms and open them up and flip in the hands like so. And you just kind of have to push the arms in a bit, so they're kind of out like that, but then they kind of collapse like a centimeter, if that. They don't really collapse that much. Come to the chest, flip up the mouth, and then flip that bit out. Rip up the chest like so, and then come to the back, and you can rip the rhino head forward as well. And then there's the mouth. Take the shoulders and push them up, and they become the rhino's front legs, like that. Straighten out the little chest piece parts, move them flipped out like that. So then you get to the legs. You're going to rotate the legs around, and then the crotch flips up under where the tail bit sits. And then I'm going to come to the legs and then remove like the shins part of it. Kind of like the shin armor, and then that folds up. You can then fold up the robot feet into the back. And then you just peg those in. Now mine used to have an issue where the leg used to like kind of be stuck like that. I don't know why. It fixed itself one day. I don't know whatever happened, but I remember it being there so vividly, and then one day it was just gone. I have no clue what happened to it. Also, one thing to note, this part here is made of that soft rubbery material that they started to introduce around 2014. A lot that I noticed it. It was in a lot of figures that I own from that year, so that's why I always say it's from that year. It was there prior, though, because Drift also has it. But it was mostly used for weapons around that point, but then it started, like, showing up on figures a lot. Anyway, you can flip him over because we're still not done, even though we could be. You then take his guns and you flip in the handles, the grips, there you go, and then they just kind of go in to the chest. So I don't really know which way to sit. They have to go in there a very precise way, because if they don't, nothing will sit right, and it's kind of annoying. So you just kind of have to come in and then slot the little edge there that's hanging off over the armored bit. There is a tab there. As you can see, okay, I think they're on wrong. I think they're in there wrong. This does happen a lot more than you'd think with this guy, because they don't really give you a specific way to put it. You just kind of have to guess and hope you're right. And I undid the entire paneling. Oh man, this part always is annoying. For some apparent reason, I don't know why it has to be so annoying. Come on. Come on, paneling. Panel formers are the best. There we go. Nope, it is butt flap is completely undoing itself. But there is Rhinox's Rhino form, and it looks really good. I mean, it's not like a crazy amount of effort to get there. It really isn't. I made it look way harder than it was, and it was mostly only this bit, which completely undid itself. It completely undid itself down there. Anyway, it still looks like a good Rhino mode. It's pretty solid looking. There's not a lot of kibble around. It's a pretty good looking one. Because with a couple of them, it's kind of like, oh, you know, there's kibble. But there's a bit of obvious kibble on the back of the legs. Like, you got the forearms, and then you got, like, the feet flipped up. Like, that's it. I wish they kind of had painted the feet, maybe. Like, they just kind of left them green, even though the foot's actually black. No clue why they put them in green. That makes no sense. Why did they put them in green? Other than to be like, oh, yeah, there's the kibble on the back of the legs, I guess. That's really all they did. There's a bit of that rubbery stuff around on the ears and on the horn. The horn's a bit chipped, but hey, he's been around a while. And I mean, he does just look really good in this form. I actually really like this form. Of course, the mouth can open, but there's a head in there. But mouth does open, and they actually did paint the teeth, and they actually have the rhino horns, and the teeth are actually one molded section, which is cool. So they just kind of like slide up and in. They're glued into place. So I think that's pretty cool. It's really cool to have a rhinox that looks like a real rhino, you know? Like, it's just the detailing of it. But let's get into the final thoughts on this figure. And I mean, as far as the final thoughts go, he's really decent, and I actually really like the figure's design. I like it a lot. The transformation isn't annoying. I made it look more annoying because this wouldn't go in right. But this figure does have his flaws, and even at the time, a lot of people were saying it had its flaws. And the loose hips on mine have always existed. It has always existed, and it's kind of annoying it's always existed, but since he's so old now, they're even worse, to the point where he just can't stand. He just cannot stand at all. No matter what I try, he cannot stand. Now, like I said, they are fixable. They're on mushroom joints, but I just don't want to put glue in there. I don't. I already mentioned I broke my Titan's Return Octane in that exact way. And, I mean, I just don't want to do it. I used to mod them figures all the time because they'd break or they'd have something with them. But, yeah, I just don't want to do that to this figure. Especially one where he's kind of a more special to me figure. But, as far as it goes, would I recommend this guy or the new one? Because that was kind of a thing people were saying. It's like, the new Rhinox is actually terrible. No one really liked that figure. It's actually so bad, it's the only Kingdom figure you can really get for retail price still, like on Amazon. Like no one wanted it. No one wants the figure. It's kind of weird no one wants them, but no one does. As far as I go with it, I don't want it either. I have this one, and I like this one way more. He's older, but he also has a way better color scheme. The other one's like a dark brown. And I kind of, I always see Rhinox as this kind of later tan color, because that's what the original toy is, if I'm not mistaken, too. In the show, he's a lighter tan color, so I don't know why the new figure was made like this kind of dark brown, dark grayish brown color. It's kind of stupid, but, I mean, I didn't really go through all the issues other than loose hips, though. Or it's the fact he can also barely hold his guns, which is kind of stupid. I don't know why he can barely hold them, but yeah. I mean, as far as this figure's rating goes, I'm not going to give him too harsh of a grade. I'm going to give him a 3.5. I'm going to give him a 3.5. Oh my god. He's standing. He's actually standing. It's a miracle. Oh my god. But he's a 3.5. Mainly just on those issues alone. He decides to stand at the last minute. What a guy. What a guy. But, I mean, he's good. He's good. I recommend him more than the new one. I think most people do. I think this one's better than that new one. It looks better anyway. But this has been our review of Thrilling 30 Rhinox. It's been Eilt Elite signing out.